All right. Great morning, superstars. How is everyone doing today? This is your girl, Taria Hodge, with another fantastic episode of Social Media Saturdays. And I am super excited, as I always am, to sit down and have these wonderful conversations with my superstars. So if you are out there and you could see me and you could hear me, do me a favor, just drop me a line in a comment and let me know, Taria, I can see you. Taria, I can hear you. And we are about to get this party bus started. And so I'm super excited about today's topic. And we are talking about why serving is the key to building your influence on social media. Okay, so why serving is the key to building your influence on social media. Now, this conversation is going to be for you if you are looking for ways to boost your engagement when you are on social media and then also build your authority. So how many of you out there, saying, hey, I'm doing this thing called social media, but one of the things that I'm noticing is that my engagement is not where my engagement needs to be or where I would like it to be. So if that's you, I want you to go ahead and then drop a 1 into the comment section and just let me know, yes, Taria, that's me. I'm looking for ways, or some strategies, things that I could do to boost my engagement on social media and then also build my authority as well. Okay. And so there's one of the things that, you're probably saying to yourself, I know people talk about it all the time, building better connections on social media. And you're having that question, how do I do that? So how do I go about building engagement, building better connections on social media, and then also increasing my influence? Okay, so those are the things that we are going to unpack today. And so I'm going to start off by asking a question, and I want everyone to kind of think about this and then drop your comments inside of the comment section because I really want to know. So the thing that I want to know today, or the question that I'm asking this morning, is what's your definition of influence? So before we go ahead and we jump in to the content, right? Just go ahead and share with me, what's your definition of influence? And I see that I have Lawan out there. Great morning, Lawan. How are you, my dear? Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on another amazing episode of Social Media Saturdays. And I see that Peg Duchesney is out there this morning. Great morning, Peg. Thank you so much for jumping in, tuning in, and joining. So if this is your first time, coming across one of our episodes, I'm your host, Taria Hodge of Social Media Saturdays, and this is a place where you come to learn how to show up and shine. So each Saturday, I share real social media strategies designed to help you fuel your business, capture your authentic message, and position you as an influencer in the marketplace. And so today we are continuing our conversation in our influencer series. So if you've been following us for the entire month of May, I've been doing a series of conversation that deals around building up your influencer and how to position yourself as an influencer in the marketplace. Okay. And so today we're rounding up that conversation. And so if you are out there, the question that I'm asking is, what's your definition of influence? And so if you could go ahead and drop that into the comment section and just let me know, because before we jump into the conversation, I just kind of want to check to see, where everybody's at, like how do they define influence. Okay. And so before we go ahead and get started, I have to do my virtual networking. So if you are out there, you are joining us, do me a favor, make sure that you let us know where you are watching from. So if you are, watching from across the US, especially in the DMV, my DMV peeps, okay, just let me know where you are tuning in from. And then also after you let us know where you are watching from, drop a comment and let us know who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and how we can connect with you. Okay. So that's who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and how we could connect with you. Now, this is something that I do every time we do an episode. And the reason why I do this is because one of the things that I realize, and we're talking about influence, right? One of the things that I realized is that there's a lot of networking, virtual networking, and connecting that happens here on social media Saturdays. Okay. So people connect. While the show is live, and then they also connect in our community as well. But here's the thing, we won't know if we need to connect with you or how you can serve unless you tell us. So do me a favor, take a minute, drop in the comment section where you're watching from, who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and how we could connect. And then last but not least, go ahead and take a minute to share this broadcast out. And so, more than likely, if you are on our social media Saturdays episode, more than likely you are the type of person, who you see the value and you would like to connect with other like-minded individuals, and you're probably doing so. And so if you know that there are people in your network right now, maybe you share it on your timeline, you have colleagues who you guys have been in conversation around this very topic, or maybe you have a community of people that you serve, just go ahead, bless them this morning, and share out the video. Okay. And so I see that Peg has answered the question. Thank you so much for that, Peg. Influence is about making a difference and helping others improve. And Peg, I absolutely love your definition of influence, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So thank you so much, Peg, for dropping that into the comment section. So in our time today, we're going to unpack, three specific things. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about why serving is the key to building your influence. And then we're also going to discuss how to joyously serve on social media. So this is another one that I get all the time. How do I do this thing called social media without burning myself out? So if you are out there and you're asking that question, I promise you want to go ahead and stay tuned in to the conversation. And now we're also going to talk a little bit about ways that you could set yourself apart from other people in your industry, people who do, the same thing that you do or similar services that you offer. How do you build a standout brand? So those are the things that we are going to unpack in our conversation today. Okay. And so one of the things I also want to ask before we jump into our conversation is, one of the things that I would like my superstars to consider is, what are some of the other topics that you would like to be considered on the show? So as we go through our time together today, just let me know what other topics that you would like to have considered on the show, because one of the things that I want to do is invite more guests on the show. Okay. And so if you have things that you would like to learn more about, have more information around, areas in your business that you are looking to improve on, just go ahead and utilize the comment section and just let me know. Okay. And then also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, this is your opportunity to also let me know. Taria, I would like to be one of your guests on social media Saturdays. I'm going to drop my link for you that would allow you to have the opportunity to schedule a call with me. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in to today's conversation. I'm really excited to sit down and have this conversation today. So one of the questions that I asked is, what's your definition of influence? Okay. And once again, like I said, I like that Peg shared that influence is making a difference and helping others improve. And so if you have been, like I said, engaging in the community and following me on social media, one of the things that you'll notice that I do all the time is at the beginning of every month, I always put out the books that I am reading for the month. And so this month, one of the books that I had the pleasure, to unpack, and I guess unpacking it for the second time because I read it before, was The Go Giver Sells More by Bob Berg and David Mann. So how many of you out there, have ever read that book? The Go Giver Sells More, or any books in the Go Giver series, okay? But particularly The Go Giver Sells More. Now, what I like about that is the definition that the authors gave around influence. And they define influence as how well you abundantly put other people's need before your own. Okay? How abundantly do you put other people's interests first? And that was their definition of influence. And I thought that it was a very interesting way to define influence because, once again, especially in this space, I don't know how many of you have ever, decided to unpack influence, like how I decided to unpack influence, and then or influencer marketing. And one of the things that, I did, go ahead and look for information on Google. What does Uncle Google have to say about the word influence and influencer marketing? And a lot of times what I've found is that they look at influence, from the perspective of a celebrity standpoint or influence. A lot of times people link influence to money and all of these things. And so I really love when I found this definition that influence is how abundantly you put other people's interests first. And here's the thing, that's the secret to really building your brand, building a magnetic brand and attracting the people who we are called to serve. And I say it all the time. One of the things that I've noticed and one of the shifts that have occurred for me is not having the mindset of going out and thinking that I have to go and find, clients, I have to find people to work with, but is the act of serving and serving in everything that I do. Put serving first, put other people's interests first. Like, how can you help them achieve the things that they want to achieve? And then what started to happen is that people started to connect with me. Okay. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's about the attraction. And this is the law of attraction. Okay. And I love that because how many times do we hear that is, the law of attraction, but what are we doing? What are the things that we are actually physically doing that allows us to become magnetic, allow people to be attracted to us? And then one of the things that I found, and I found this personally, is the act of giving or is the act of serving. Okay. And so if you are tracking, I just want you to go ahead and just drop a comment and just let me know. Okay. All right. And so I'm just going to share with you just a little bit about my journey. So one of the things that, since we're talking about influence, and I didn't fully understand this, like when I started, oh my gosh, many, many moons ago. I think I've been in this space for about 10 years now. One of the quotes that I came across early on as an entrepreneur was a John C. Maxwell quote. And that John C. Maxwell quote said, if you help enough people get what they want, eventually you will get what you want. Okay, so if you help enough people get what they want, eventually you'll get what you want. And for some reason, that quote stuck with me. And I think in the beginning, when I understood the quote or I felt the quote, I found the quote, I think I got the beginning part of the quote, and which is help people. So that was the first thing that stood out for me. Just help people, okay? And you help them get what they want. And then in turn, I'll be able to achieve my desires. I'll get the things that I want as well. And so I embarked on this wonderful journey, in my business, building relationships and also keeping serving forefront. Okay. But the thing that, as I continued on the journey, one of the things that I had to learn more about is how do we go ahead and build the thing called influence, okay? And how do you help people? So here's the thing. The word here is enough people, more people. So the question that started to stand out for me, it's how do I now start to extend my reach? And it was a very, very interesting thing for me to start to unpack. How do I extend my reach? And one of the things that I always say all the time is that the act of service has been able to open more doors for me than money ever can. Okay, so how many of you out there have came to that realization in your business? Your act of service can open more doors for you than money physically can. Okay. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So the first thing that I want to talk about, great morning, Suzanne. I see that Suzanne is out there this morning and she says, how abundantly you put other people's interests first. Love it. Yes. And so that's the definition, of influence. How abundantly are you able to put other people's needs or interests before your own and always show up in the act of service. Okay. And so one of the things like I said, I started to unpack the book, the Go Givers Sell More book, written by Bob Berg and David Mann. One of the things that stood out inside of the book is that serving is the key to building your network. And how many of you, really think about your network from the standpoint of serving? So do you get up every day and say and ask yourself the question, how am I going to serve today? Or how am I going to serve more today? Or I have the opportunity to connect with all of these people who are around me, whether it's in the physical space or whether you're on social media. So I know a lot of us are building our brands on social media. Are you consciously asking yourself, how am I serving and how can I serve more? And so one of the things that they unpacked is it's not about who you know, but it's about who knows you. And I sat with that for a minute. And the reason why I started to once again unpack this beautiful journey, and I started to think, how many times do we encounter individuals, we have people in our network, like I said, whether they're in our physical space or they're in the virtual space. And I just love the virtual space because I have the opportunity, to serve others that I have yet to meet them in person, right? It's such an awesome thing. So you're serving or you're taught to do all these things. Let me just kind of back it up. So you're taught to run the marketing campaigns and you do all the things that the experts, tell you to do on social media. And then we go in, to these things with the mindset that, oh, I'm going to get a client out of this. And that's what you're thinking. That's what the focus point is, right? Is who can become, my client through all of this. Like, of course, we need clients, we need to grow a business, yada, yada, all of that stuff. Okay. One of the things that I learned is to really take the pressure off of myself and not worry about, oh, is this person going to convert? But focus on the relationship. Okay, so how many of you are feeling what I'm putting down? Focus on the relationship. So when you have the opportunity to connect with someone and you're asking the question, how can I serve you? Okay, and you show up in that act to serve, oftentimes what I've learned is that influence. Okay, so I've built a great relationship. I've established like, know, and trust factor with this person. They may or they may not necessarily become a client, a direct client. But you know what? If that experience is an awesome and wonderful experience, and they take away, what's the key word? Value. They take away value from that experience, then what they're willing to do is introduce, connect me to their network as well, which thus increases my sphere of influence. Okay, so you're seeing how that how it works. The act of service is really the key to building your network. So if you're not doing this already, this is the question that I want each and every of you to start to unpack. How do you serve more? Like, if you get up every day and you ask yourself that question, how can I serve more? Then with every interaction, then you have the opportunity to, number one, build your network, which number two increases your sphere of influence. So now, with that being said, the second question that I get all the time is, how do we do this thing called serving on social media without burnout? So how many of you, have said, oh my gosh, I don't like social media? Okay, so people tell me that all the time. I don't like social media. I dread social media. There's a ton of overwhelming feelings when it comes to, doing social media. And just, what do I do when I'm on here, and how do I make it work? So how many of you can identify with that? Just go ahead and let me know. Okay. And so one of the things that I always say is, you know what? It's such a shift when we start to take a look at social media as a serving tool instead of a selling tool. And so I know we've all been taught this, okay? That yes, social media, has to be a part, and it should be. It definitely is a part of your marketing strategy. And we should have the social media strategy. We should have the social media plan. We should show up on social media, okay? But here's the mindset shift. As you start to take a look at your positioning on your social networks and your social media platforms, how are you serving? And so, are you approaching your social media from a serving standpoint, or do you just take a look at it solely from the standpoint of, this is the place for me to position my business, to position my products and my services, and like I always say, hawk my wares? So the thing becomes, what are you doing in between your promotional periods on social media? So I want everyone to get what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that you don't promote or position your products and your services on social media, and you don't tell people how you can serve them, right? One of the things that, I always ask at the top of the episode is, let us know who you serve, and let us know how you serve, and how we connect with you. Okay, so those things are always, on the forefront of our minds. But if you are looking at your social media as the place where you solely do those things, you are missing, the opportunity. Okay, so social media first is the opportunity to give your audience, your prospective clients, the opportunity to get to know you. And so this is what I talk about all the time when I said it's time to stop hiding out on social media. So I hear it all the time. Is one of the things that people say, why? I don't know what to do on social media, so I just won't show up, or when I show up inconsistent on social media. Okay, it's kind of spotty. Okay, but I want you to think about it from the standpoint of your audience. So if you don't give yourself the opportunity to show up consistently on social media, the impact on your audience is that they don't get fully get a chance to know you, and they don't fully get a chance, to experience the blessing of your serving. And this is all about the like, know, and trust factor. So we've all heard that people do business with whom they like, know, and trust. But how many times are we giving people the opportunity to like, know, and trust us? Okay. And social media, it's definitely the playground that you could do that. Okay. And so it's also not about thinking that you have to be, and I want to make sure that I say this correctly. It's not about thinking that you have to be everywhere at all times. Because also, not having a clear strategy with your social media can lead to overwhelm. So, one of the other things that people ask all the time when it comes to social media is, which platforms do I need to be on? Do I need to be on all social media platforms? And we see people do that all the time, right? They go ahead and they establish like 50 million different social media platforms, and they don't have a clear strategy for serving, on any of them. And so they miss the mark, on that. And I'm here to share with you, like, you don't have to burn yourself out when it comes to social media. Okay. So it's strategically thinking about, where am I going to position myself? Where are the people who I'm called to serve? Where are they positioned? So that's my answer to the question. My answer to the question is, knowing, who you're called to serve, where they hanging out on social, and then how are you positioning yourself in that space? Okay. And then also, what is your strategy for serving? Have you thought about it? And so it isn't about, posting like 50 million things, in one day. People ask me all of that. Oh my gosh, how many times should I post? What times should I be posting? And that necessarily isn't the focus. The focus for your social media should always be, what? When I put out this content, even if it's one video, okay, or even if it's one post that I put out, how am I showing up, to serve? And what's the impact? Okay, that this piece of content is going to have, on the people that I touch. And really, that is the answer to the question. Okay, so you do it through your content. It's done through the conversations that you have in the marketplace. And the easiest way to figure this out is, every time you think about your content and you think about what you're going to put out there in the marketplace, ask yourself, how am I going to leave people better, with this conversation? So that's always one of my focal points, when I prepare for each and every single one of these episodes, right? So when people, my superstars, connect with me on social media Saturdays, how am I leaving them better? And that's always the goal, to provide value. Okay. And I see that Barbara is out there this morning. Great morning, Barbara. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining. Okay. All right. And so we're going to also talk about another big question that I hear, I get often, and even for myself, I've struggled with this in the past as well. And so the question is, what sets you apart from others in your industry? Now, we're talking about building your influence on social media. We're talking about how to show up powerfully and consistently, like I said, how to shine on social media. And one of the things that I've noticed that really prevents a lot of people from shining, prevent a lot of people from showing up, is the comparison. Okay. And so how many of you have, ever, felt this way? Like, what? I know that I am called to serve, and, I'm amazing. But when I take a look at social media, other people, are offering other products and services, or they're in the same industry that I'm in. And internally, what you're doing is comparing yourself to those other people in the marketplace. And what's happening is you're telling yourself, you know what? I'm not going to do that because this person is already doing this. How many of you have ever said stuff like that to yourself before? Right? You have that program, you have, your unique way of serving, you have that thing that you do, but you won't release it. Like, this is so huge because I get this all the time. It's so huge because people are too busy, like, looking at what other people are doing, what other people are putting into the marketplace, and it's causing them to shrink. It's causing them to hide, in the marketplace, especially on social media. So one of the things that I say all the time is that social media could be a very, very noisy place. So the question becomes, how do you cut through the noise? That's the question that, each of you should be asking. How do I cut through the noise? Okay. And so I'm just going to share with you the one thing that sets you apart from everyone else in your industry and everyone else who, has a similar product or service that they position in their business. And that one thing is the way that you add value. Okay, so I want someone to go ahead and put that into the comment section for me as well. Okay, add value. So it's your unique value proposition that sets you apart from all of your other people in your network. And I'm checking because I think I have a problem with my comments. So I just want to make sure that I am not missing any of the comments or any of the questions this morning. Okay. All right. So it's the thing that sets you apart from others in your industry is the way that you add value. And so you might be asking, well, Taria, how do I do that? I'm going to share with you 3 ways today. 3 ways this morning that you can set yourself apart from others in your industry. The first thing is be a resource. Become the resource. Okay, so I would like for someone to drop that into the comment section as well. Become the resource. So when people connect with you, okay, are you a resource? Okay, are you the person that they're turning to get their questions answered? Okay, are you seen as the go-to person? Now, I'm going to say this. This is the thing that I also hear. So you guys know I'm leaning in because I'm getting ready to say some stuff, right? How often do we see the conversation on social media about people wanting to quote unquote pick brains, right? Oh my gosh, this person, is calling me for a pick your brain session. And I hear people saying it all the time, like, oh my gosh, I'm not here for, people to pick my brain and, all of that stuff. The first shift in mindset. How cool is it that someone had a problem or someone had a question and they thought about you as the one to call? Okay. Have you ever thought about it that way? That people are out there legit having questions, they have problems, they have 2 a.m. problems, things that are keeping them up at night. Okay. And the person that they decided to reach out to was you. Have you ever thought about it that way? So instead of being disgruntled and all up in your feelings, talking about, I understand, I don't do pick your brain sessions and da 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 da, this is your opportunity for you to serve more. Okay. Now, I want everyone to get this. By no means am I saying, you give away all your stuff for free and you don't charge people, but how are you serving? Okay, how are you serving? How are you really providing value before you position the sale? And if you do it correctly and you provide value, you won't struggle to onboard clients. Huge mindset shift. I'm sharing all of these things because these are the things that I also struggled with as well. Okay. And I hear these conversations in the marketplace all the time. Okay. So, number one, are you the resource? And I want everyone to start to strategically think about how they could show up as a resource. Now, I haven't said this in a long time, but I have a golden rule of thumb. Okay, here's my golden rule of thumb. If I have three people that ask me the same question, then I'm going to create some type of resource around it. I want everyone to get that. Okay. And that's something that you could take away from here today, too. If you have three or more people ask you the same question, then you need to create some type of resource around it. So it's either a handout, it's either a video, something, a checklist, something. Be a resource to others. Okay. The second way that you could add value is be a connector of people. Okay, now this one is huge. So, how many times, once again, we have the opportunity to have people in our network, and the opportunity is not right as yet for our products and services. Okay, so someone may have called you, they're sharing with you what their next level is, the things that they're looking forward to do, and you might not be a fit, for that person right now, what you offer, what you provide. Do you always have it on the forefront of your mind to connect that person with someone else in your network who will be able to serve them? Okay, so how many of you approach serving from that standpoint? Okay, and so this is another thing that I see all the time. Once again, the goal is to make sure that we are leaving people better than when they first connected with us. Okay, so even if it's a phone call and you get on that phone call and this person has a need in this particular area, and you're not the person to fill that need, who else in your network can you refer that person to? Who else can you make a connection? And it's one of the things, like, it's such a beautiful thing that to see in my business. I just have to say, I'm trying to get all the words out. It's such a beautiful thing to see in my business when I take a look at the people that I serve, and I watch them and I see them growing to their next level, and they're growing to that next level, and I'm open, transparent enough to say, you know what, that's your next level, or that's something that you need. I might not be the one to take you there or take you to the next level, but I know the perfect person who can. Let me go ahead and make that introduction. This is why we're doing what we do, guys. It's all about that. It's like, how are we building our network, and then how are we being the connector of people? Okay. And then the third thing that I'm going to share with you today, and this one is huge: follow through. Okay. And we're going to talk about the follow through when it comes to your social media. So, how well are you following through on social? And so, here's the thing that I'm really asking. So, when it comes to our social platforms, people connect with us every day. Okay, every day, and they connect with us on different platforms. So, how well, are you, number one, reaching out and connecting back with those people? So, are you just, someone sends you a friend request? Let me paint the scenario. Someone is sending you a friend request. Do you just accept the friend request, and then go about your merry business, okay? Or you follow through and you get a chance to learn a little bit more about the person, and you ask those wonderful questions. How do you serve in your business? Who are you called to serve in your business? Okay. And you get to know that connection. So oftentimes, a lot of times, what we do is we just do the numbers, right? We just boop, boop, click, add friend, and now I got somebody else added to my network. Or for those of you who are, who have online communities, right? So, boop, someone is in my community. Do you take the time, to go over, to their page and check them out and say, okay, what's the follow through here? Do I need to set up a call with this person? Do we need to jump on the phone so I could learn a little bit more about, what this person does and how I could serve them? What are the needs? Are you approaching your social media like that? Okay. And now I'm going to tell you, that's the today's strategy. Okay, so today's strategy is get organized around your social media reach outs. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We talked about the follow through, how you're taking a look at your follow through, and in order for you to be successful at that, do you have a system and do you have a process in place that will allow you to follow through? Okay. All right. So let me see. Do we have any questions, out there this morning? So I see that Suzanne is out there and Suzanne is giving me some fire. Thank you for that, Suzanne. It's all about adding value. You're, absolutely correct. So thank you for dropping that into the comment section for me, and has also become a resource. Yeah. So number one, we are it in our business, right? Our number one resource is us, right? So how are you being a resource? And then also be a connector, of people. Are you actively seeking, to connect people within your network? Okay. And so if there are any other questions, any other comments, just go ahead and let me know. And like I said, every episode I come prepared, to share with you a strategy. Okay. Because remember, the promise is to share real strategies designed to fuel your business. And the strategy here is having a process for connecting on social media. So, what does that look like? What's your process for connecting on social media? And I want everyone to, if you aren't doing this already, I want you to sit and really kind of process this. So, number one, like I said, social media is the place where, a lot of times people are checking us out. Okay, it's such a beautiful thing. People are checking us out. We have no idea when people are checking us out. We have no idea what they see, the content that they've gone to, they've looked at before they go ahead and they hit that add a friend, or they hit that like, or they hit that inbox message. Okay. And so when someone reaches out to you originally on social media, what do you do? Okay. So do you just leave it as, oh, okay, I'm going to accept a friend request and then it stays there? Or are you taking the opportunity to say, well, you know what? Let me do one further. Now that, well, I should say before I accept the friend request, let me go ahead and check out the profile. Okay, and spend some time. These are things that when it comes to your social media, you should be blocking time on your calendar like every week to do this. And these things don't take hours to do. Okay, so here's the thing: people complain about social media and how social media is this big time suck. The reason why it's a time suck is because we don't have clear strategies to do the things that we're supposed to do on social media. We get on social media and then we get distracted. I'm guilty sometimes. Okay, we get distracted. So we're all over the place. But if you go ahead and say, you know what, this is the day, this is the time in my business that I am going to strategically follow through with my social media. So maybe you have some friend requests that are sitting there and you have no idea who these people are. So you know what? The first thing that you're going to do is hop on over, to their profile. You're going to check their profile out. Okay. And then also get in a conversation and find out, okay, how you can serve. So that's today's strategy. Okay. And like I said, this is such a powerful strategy. If we stay focused on our social media, then we will definitely start to receive or see the return on investment, whether it's time or whether it's your money that we all desire on social media. Okay. All right, so Audrey's out there, and Audrey's saying great information. I will watch the replay and take notes. Awesome, awesome, Audrey. Before you jump off, my dear, do me a favor in the comment section. Just go ahead and let us know who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and how we can connect with you. Okay. All right. And so if there aren't any more questions, we are going to wrap up today's episode. Let me just go ahead and do a quick recap. So our topic of conversation today was why serving is key to building your influence on social media. Okay. And so the first thing that we unpacked is serving is the key, to build your network. So it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. And that's the true essence of building our network. Okay. And then we also talked a little bit about how to joyously serve on social media. And it's not about the what's the word, the bunch of things that you do, but is when you do the one thing, how do you experience or how do you provide the best impact? So if you're producing content and one video is all that you're able to do, okay, or one magnetic message is the one thing that you're able to do each week, how do you bring the most impact and how do you serve the most, through the content that you are providing? So it's not about diluting and being all over the place just to say that you're all over the place, but what's the impact, okay, that you are bringing to your social. And then lastly but not least, my favorite thing is what really sets us apart from others in our industry and others who offer a similar service, and it's the way that we provide value. And so if you always seek to leave people better than when you first met them, then you would win at this at all times. Okay. All right. So thank you once again for tuning in to another amazing episode of Social Media Saturdays. If you have not connected with us in our community, please do. Our community is Serve, Share, Shine, the Givers Community. So you could simply go to Facebook, type in into the search box, Serve, Share, Shine, the Givers Community, knock on the door, we will let you in. Okay. And then we are also on Instagram. On Instagram, it's Taria Hodge. So you could feel free to follow me there on Instagram as well. You could also catch our videos, all of our replays on YouTube. So if you head on over to Social Media Saturdays on YouTube, you could check the videos there. And then also, if you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm also on LinkedIn as Taria Hodge. And I know, guys, it is a holiday weekend, Memorial Day. So make sure that everyone is safe and you have an enjoyable weekend. All right. Thank you so much. Take care until next time.